Well, hello, traders and investors. I'm LA Little. This is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets, doing it from a neoclassical perspective, looking at supply and demand on the charts, and using that to make decisions about how to position your portfolio, when to move in, when to move out, in terms of timing, based on supply and demand as you see it on the charts. Do this show 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, broadcast at before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube. It's on the channel LA Little. And if you want to subscribe to the show, just reach up in the right hand corner. Anytime I push public content, you'll be able to get that. I was asked about Twitter the other day. Haven't updated the site yet to let you join there, but if you are interested, TA Today is where you get us on Twitter. As far as what these markets did today, let's take a look at that. Essentially, you had a sideways day. NDX was, of course, the leader again. Large cap technology stocks continue to lead. S&P was flat. You had the 6th out of 8 days of weakness again in the Russell. NASDAQ was flat. If you look overseas, you had a little bit of a pullback, especially in France after they had their huge run up into the election. You ended up a little bit higher on Switzerland overall. In Asia, a little bit down. Gold, weak again. Gold's been spinning to the downside, as has silver. Oil was flat. Bonds got hit one more time. Let's take a look at the charts and focus on the sleep fest that is this market, and that is that this market just keeps hanging at the highs. You know, it's going to test this high. That's what it's after, and it keeps banging up against it. Hasn't been able to test it yet, but I'm sure it's going to before it's over here. That's the range it's in. You see when it got down towards the bottom, no sellers were willing to sell. Pops up with some volume on the pop. Now you get up into the top of the range and it's trying to get to the test. 2498 got to 23. Actually got over it. It actually did the test today. I didn't see that. 2400 got to 2401, so we actually got the test. Well, we may have something a little bit more interesting now. So 34, so you test the top and you test it with lighter volume. That's a test failure. That's a test failure at the highs. That in and of itself says that you should see this market try to pull back tomorrow in the S&P. Let's see what else we got then. Is there anything else to support that? Well, let's go to the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ high was 6102.72 and it closes over it. So the NASDAQ wants to try it again, right? Let's see what the NDX did. I suspect the NDX did even better, and it did. Let's go to the Russell. And the Russell inside day. So the Russell gives you no message. So you've got strength in technology just like we've had for God knows how long, right? You've got the weakness in this S&P where it tests and fails. But given the two and given the overall bullishness of the market, you got to have the bullish bias whether you like it or not here, because that one index isn't going to do it. Let's see if there's anything in the sectors that might give us a clue. Discretionary, that doesn't really tell us anything. Stayed over the high from Friday. Pullback in the healthcare. Comes back in, testing that bar, doesn't have the volume. That's probably going to try to flip around. Utilities, really nothing there. Durables, inside bar, nothing there. Technology, probably new highs. Yes, it is. What else is new? XL, and that's so that I can go higher. XLI, and now the XLI test fails on Tuesday. Again, I wouldn't read much into this. It just says it's gonna, struggle to go higher, could go sideways. XLF, financials, inside bar, tells you nothing. XLE, energy gets a little bit more of a pop off that big, blowout type of volume at the bottom. And we're not talking a huge volume, but it did leave a nice little spike at the lows. Sometimes that can be the turn. You'd like to see it tested right away, but it didn't. Basic materials, inside day, the semiconductors. That's an over-under, but again, it's just flopping around. I don't think that really tells you much. Transports, and these guys have been weak for a while, and big bearish engulfing today. It looks like that one wants to trade lower. Biotech was weak all day. Let's see what that bar looks like, and that's a nice big spike to the downside. So when I look at this market, you got mixed signals everywhere, which has been the case. The one thing that we don't have is we don't have any kind of strong signals that tell us that this market is going to turn yet. Some little hints that you could have a little difficulty, but you've had a little difficulty for a long time. Looking overseas, the DAX. Now the DAX, that's a 2-bar reversal at the highs. May see it trade lower tomorrow. Let's see what the CAX did. And the CAX got over, under, also same thing. So you have the over-unders, they're basically 2 bars. You could call that a little consolidation. Now the Swiss exchange just keeps powering higher. Coming back to that DAX though, and the CAX, what you have is you have a little consolidation on these two, so it's kind of hard to call this as a 2-bar. It's more of an over-under. In other words, you may get the pullback. You have the extension. It's fairly compressed in time, and these are judgment calls. There's no hard fast rule, but that's about as close as it gets to getting a 2-bar if it isn't one, because you had this consolidation for a decent little period there, 4 or 5 days. Let's look at the Shanghai. This one's been struggling. They had bad numbers again, and they trade down again. And if we look at them on the weekly, Shanghai's coming back to test a low, and it's already, that low actually will be a full retest, regenerate. How about the Hong Kong index? Let's see what that one looks like. And about the same, not able to do much of anything. So I don't see, like I was saying at the top here, you got a market that's slowly putting commentators out of business because it just drags along and just doesn't want to do anything on the downside. One day after another, it's the same sort of thing, just kind of plod along. It doesn't matter what comes out, this thing just hangs. Just like the dollar's hanging too. Of course, you would have expected the dollar to sell off today. It gets a little bounce. Euro pulls back. Those all look normal. I expect you'll probably see them flip around, try to go back the other way. Finally, let's go look at the debt sector. See if there's anything there that looks interesting. My guess is there's nothing, but the reason you look is because you don't know. Let's see what we see here. Bond market, the total bond market around the world, starting to sell off. Something may be happening here. Well, you have to give it a little bit more time. Let's see what the 20-year bonds look like, TLT. They've been under some pressure. They're coming down. So they break a swing point low tonight. That's the green arrow. And they're coming right into the key support zone. So bonds got to find themselves, or they're going to get a deeper retrace. And finally, let's look at maybe the junk side of this. High quality bonds. How about just junk bonds? Junk bonds still hit the highs. That doesn't tell you that there's any fear out there in debt. And high quality bonds, a little pullback here. And that looks more like the total bond market. So maybe a little something happening there, but too early really to get a feel for anything on that part of the sector. I've been watching the gold miners. They've been really hammered of late. GLD, you get a gap down, 3 days, just hanging down here at the lows, trying to get into this bar is what it's doing. The GDX, and let's see what that one looks like. Little bounce, not much to it though. So you had a big sell down, right? For basically 25 to 20. You're talking 20%. Right, that's a pretty big move to the downside. So they can get a bounce, right? And that's what they're doing. They came into this big volume low and getting a bounce into it. I don't think that there's much more than that. Oil market had sold off. Let me pull up a weekly chart of the crude oil futures here. So you come down. You got some volume on it. The test was into this bar, and volume was a little bit lighter That actually probably gets a bounce. So you break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you don't get a swing point low here. Your swing point low is here. So far, your bullish retest regenerates is this one, right? And so far, it gave that up. So that just simply says that this is a sideways trend. Everything says it's a sideways trend. So this just looks like you're going to get a bounce into here. Probably going to get up to the top of this bar and have troubles. So nothing special there either. I don't guess there's anything special anywhere, to be quite honest with you. Market is looking for an excuse to go up or down. Biases to the upside. If the bias is the upside, then you should look to the upside until the bias isn't, and that's the way it looks. Do have a test failure on the S&P. Let's see if it follows through. That's what it should tomorrow. Follow through to the downside. If it doesn't, telling you it's stronger than it is, and it's going to try to break those highs. Have yourself a great one. Take care. I'll see you next time.